Hello, welcome back. In this video, we'll be considering the question 3 of NECO Computer Studies Practical of 2024. Remember, we had considered question 1 and question 2. The link will be in the description box below. Alright, so we're going to look at question number 3 today. The question says, create a database with the following structure using Microsoft Access as shown in table 1.2. So we're going to create a database, and in the database, we'll have this table, and the table will have these fields. Okay, now you launch your Microsoft Access. So here is our Microsoft Access. So you click on blank database, and it's going to take you to this environment where you need to decide on the folder where you want your work kept, and then you decide on the name of the database. Now remember, by this time you would have created a folder on your desktop already, preferably where you're going to drop all of your work. Okay, so we'll click on this folder icon here. I'm going to save this file here. So you must have created your folder already by now. So I'm just going to call it StaffDB. I'm calling it StaffDB because it contains records of staff. Then I'll click on OK. So by doing that, you have decided the location where you want your work to be kept, and then you can go ahead to click on create. So let's go back to the question. It will just be a one table database with these field names and these data types. So let's do that quickly. So here is the default table that we're supposed to have. The name of the table is StaffRecord. So to save this file, this table name as StaffRecord, just do Ctrl S, and then you get to change that table 1 to StaffRecord. Let me confirm the spelling. Good. So I can click on OK. So here we have it. Now, in order to create the required fields and to determine the data types, you need to open this in design view. Okay, in my previous video, we've talked about how to switch between datasheet view and design view and the reason we need them. So let me just quickly recap here that for us to manipulate the table, that is to restructure the table, we need to do that in design view. Whereas when we are entering data into the table, we do that with datasheet view. So right here, I'm going to switch to design view. There are a couple of ways that we can do that. Either you just click on this icon there, it will change to design view, or you can click on this little arrow here and get to choose design view, or you can right click on this very tab here, so you can move to design view as well. So I'll just click on design view. So here we get to determine the field names and the data types. So in order to have an easy work, I have decided to arrange this way. Okay, so that we can be looking at them side by side. Okay, so the first one is employee number. Employee number. It is important to use the field names as indicated here. Okay, so it should be number. You can click on this arrow, or you can just delete and type it, but let me click on this arrow to show us. Now all of these are data types. Okay, so the one we need is number. Then the next one, staff name. Short text will be fine. You can either use short text or long text, but in this case, since it's just a name, you can use the short text. If it is a lot of words, you can use the long text. So this is number. So since we have done this, we need to save. However, there is something we need to take note of here. For salary, we were told that it should be between 1,500 and 2,000. So we need to do this under validation. Let me quickly show us how we can do that. So here we are for salary. We were told that it should be between 1,500 and 2,000. So this is where we need to include that validation under validation rule. Remember, you clicked on salary, the field that you want to include the validation on, and then you come here to type. Okay, so we're going to put between 1,500 and 2,000. I believe that is the amount that we were told. Yes, and then you can put the text here. Now this text is going to tell you what message. Okay, so we can just copy this as part of the message and say invalid entry, enter between 1,500 to 2,000. Now you can do Ctrl S here, and let us switch back to datasheet view. So we will quickly check on this to see if it is working. Okay, now before we can do anything here, let's just put up a number. Let's just say number 1, then we can just jump and come here. Now let's try 3,000. You see it says invalid entry between 1,500 and 2,000. Let's do 1,000. The same thing. Let's do 1,499. You see the same thing. So let's do 1,500 to see if it's going to accept it. Good. So that means the validation worked well. So the next part is, it says fill 6 distinct records for the fields in this table. So we need 6 distinct records to fill up this table. So let's do that quickly. So having entered the 6 distinct records as instructed here, we need to do Ctrl S to save this. Okay. So what's the next thing? Okay, I want to mark off these ones, the ones that I've attended to. So the next part says create a report to show staff name, employee number, and blood group. So we'll come here. So remember, I will do my Ctrl S. So for me to create that report, I need to come to create. Now you can create a report directly from a table, or you can create it from a query. So in this case, we will create it from a table. So I'll click on create. I like to use my report wizard. I'll click on report wizard, and then I get to choose the fields. Remember, they told us to use staff name, employee number, blood group. Staff name, employee number, blood group. You see, I kept clicking on that to push them one after the other. I could have just double clicked like this, you see, and it's there. And then again, I'm going to double click to send it back. Okay, so the ones that we have here are the selected fields, and they are the fields that are going to be shown in our report. Okay, I'll click on next, and then again next. We're not told to sort this, so we just keep going next. Now you need to choose if it is landscape or portrait. So since we're not told exactly, so we can just choose any of them, but usually reports are are very well printed in landscape or portrait, but we can change this later if we want to. But let me just change this to landscape for now, and then I will leave this checked and I will click on next. So I can just add report to it, and then I can click on finish. So when this opens, you're going to see the print preview looking like this. Of course, you need to do some adjustment here to make this look better. So what I think we should do now, I will change this to layout view. Okay, I right clicked and then I'll go to layout view. So this is the print preview. I'll click on layout view, so that way I can come here and adjust these things a bit. Now I'll click on the field name, hold my control key down and click on any of the data to select the entire data. Then I can adjust both of them, as in the field name and the data, like this. You see, again I can come here, hold my control key again, click and adjust, and then I can adjust like this. For this one, I would like to put it at the center. Okay, there's nothing wrong if we decide to do that. Let's see, go to home. Here for right alignment. Okay, so I can leave this way. I think it looks better. And anyways, I don't think it really matters. Yeah, I'll hold my control again and do the same thing, and then let me adjust this way a bit, and then I can still align them like this. Okay, I had to click twice. Okay, so here we are. So I think this looks a lot better. Again, what else do we need to do? Now, before you print this, it is important for you to add your name somewhere, at the header, at the footer, somewhere your name needs to be there. So I will just right click and go to design view, and then I can add it here, I can add it down there. So let me just add it down there. Now remember, this part is showing your time and it's showing the page. You don't really need it, so oftentimes I delete it unless I'm asked to, especially for reports that have more than one page. Yeah, you can leave the page number. Okay, so you don't really need this too, so I'm just going to take them out. And then you can click on the label here, come to any of these reports. I've explained these things before. This page footer means each page, this is what is going to appear. The report footer means at the end of the entire page, the last page will have this. Okay, so since our work is just one page, it doesn't matter where exactly we put it. So I'll type my name, full name, and then my reg number. So you need to do that to differentiate your work from the next person's work, so that your work doesn't get mixed up. Okay, so I can click on this and keep some space there. So this is good. I can do Ctrl S to save, or you can bold this a bit if you want. You're free to do so. I'll go to home. Where is the, okay, that's it, the bold. You can even increase the font if you want. Okay, just to make it more visible. Okay, now remember, I need to now adjust this. Yeah, so I can do Ctrl S to save and switch to, I can go to print preview to see what it will look like. So this is what it will look like with my name appearing down there. Okay, so that way my work doesn't get mixed up. All right, so that's that. Let's move on. So we are done with the report. So the next part is to do this one. What is the primary key of the database? Now question is, where are we going to do this? Well, we can actually add it here. Okay, we can add it somewhere there. Let me see. Let me right click on this. Let me go to design view. If you're watching up to now, that means you're enjoying this video. Now why don't you take out this time to share, to like, to comment, to subscribe or follow, depending on the platform you are watching from. That way this video gets to as many persons as possible. Now, have you done that? Thank you. So question is, where are we going to add this? Okay, let me try to be a little creative here. How about I give space here and then I can add it among the data. Let me see how that will work. So I'll click on it The question number is what? Question number 4. So I'll just do bracket open, IV, the primary key is what? Employee number. Okay, so let's see how that would turn out to be. I'll do Ctrl S, and then I can switch to print preview. Whoa, that will not work. You see, that's a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Okay, so let's go back and put it this way. All right, let me go back to design view, and then I can take this out. I can just bring it here. Okay, I can put it here. Good. So I'll do my Ctrl S again and open it in print preview. Okay, it's not bad. What do you think? Okay, it's not bad. So but something went wrong with this my work. Because of the space I added, because of that thing I did, it has created a lot more space here, and that is not good. I'll go back to design view. I'm sorry that this thing is making us go back and forth, so I'm going to close up this distance a bit. Okay, that way I get to save, and when I go back to print preview, it should look normal now. Good, so this looks a lot normal. Okay. So I think this thing being here is not bad. The examiner definitely is going to see it, right? So an alternative way would be to export this as a rich text format that you can open with Microsoft Word, and then you can type it afterwards. Okay, maybe I'll show you how to do that later. Okay, so the next part will be prepare a form for all the fields in table 1.2. So we need a form for all the fields. All right, so how do we get that part? So let's close this print preview and then go to create, go to form wizard. I like using form wizard, and then we need for all of this, right? So I'll click on this to move all of them from the available fields to the selected fields. Good. And then I'll click on next, and then I'll click on next, and then I can add form there so that I can differentiate them, and then I can just click on finish. Now when I click, I want us to see this place. Now you see, for everything I did, they are all recorded here. This is the table, there's a form, the reports. Okay, so we are looking at the form now. Now the form is where you get to the second way to add data to your table. Either you go through the datasheet view, that's just like we did here, or you should use the form to enter data into your table. So this is the form that we've created for all the fields. Now you can open this in layout view if you want to adjust them. If you feel this is quite too long, you can choose to adjust them. And I clicked on the first one, and then I held my control key down and I selected others. So I can just choose to adjust this a bit, just to give it some fitting. Okay, maybe a little more. All right, so this looks good. I can leave it this way. All right, so this is the form that we have created. You can do Ctrl S to save the changes. Form done and dusted. So the next thing they say, change page orientation to landscape. Change page orientation to landscape. Okay, so I believe they are referring to the form, because we've done quite a number of things here. We've done reports and we've done form. So I believe they are talking about the form. Let me click on format and see what happens here. So to change this to landscape, I think I can go to file, I'll go to print, I'll go to print preview. Now on print preview, you will see that this is in portrait already, so we can change this to landscape. Okay, so you see all the data are appearing, all the 6 records that we put in there, you see they are all appearing. So this is like 3 pages. Now you can choose to print this way, but for me, I don't like this space I have here. Remember, it was in portrait. Yeah. So I'm going to use columns so that it will be printed here and there. That's what I want to do. So I'll just click on that and I'll choose 2 columns. Now I can click on, now you don't have to touch this one, say down then across. So you want it printed down, then before it start printing from here, or you want it printing like this, like that, like that. So I want it printed like this, printed all the way down before printing the other ones this way. So I can now click on OK. Now when I click on OK, this is how it will look like. So this looks a lot better, okay, since I am no longer using portrait. Okay, so with this I think we have just 2 pages, yeah, that and that. So this is easy to print. You can print this from here if you want. Okay, so the last part says print out the report, the table, and the forms. Okay, and the form. So you have the form here already. You can just go ahead to print this. Okay, you can hit that print button there, and then you choose your printer, whatever printer you have, then you go ahead to print your work. So that is for the record, the form, sorry. And for the report, you can equally do the same thing. Just go to print preview. You see I right clicked and I went to print preview. Here is it. I can print it. Remember that this answer is still there. So now let me show you guys the other way of doing this. I can decide to print this as a PDF, or I can print it as a rich text format. Okay, so let me export this, then I'll show you alternatively how you can add this. Okay, staff report. So let's put it in the same folder where our work is. So I'll just click on save, and then I can click on OK. So it is exporting. It is done exporting without error. You see, it was done successfully without error. So I'll click on close. Then I can go to that folder to open it up. There is our work. It is in rich text format, which we can open with Microsoft Word. All right, so this is the file. You can see it. So this is the text that was typed. Yeah. So you can choose to take this out if you so desire. So you can come to the end here, press enter, and paste it there. So you have it. Yeah. So you see this one has moved. So this one was not exactly at the footer when it was converted from the report to rich text format. So you can cut this out and actually put it in the footer, or just drop it somewhere there. Okay, so you don't need this guy. Gone. All right, so with this you're good to go. So you can still achieve the same thing here, or you can just go ahead and do it in the report, just like we did here. So the next part will be to print the staff record. Yeah, so we can equally print the staff record. Just go to file, go to print, and then print preview. You can see it here. Yeah, remember, so I don't know, we should leave this in landscape or in portrait, although we're not exactly told. But since they mentioned landscape, I'm going to leave everything in landscape just to be on the safe side. Yeah, so with this you can go ahead to print your work. You can say print and choose your printer and do your printing. Alternatively, you can go to PDF, or you can do rich text format if you want. Okay, so that's that. So I believe we're done with this part. Now if you did it successfully, you have your 22 marks in the bag. Congratulations. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to deal with this part of. I'm going to do this here, so I can just press my enter. Remember that the cursor is already blinking there. I'll press my enter to create a new page. Now remember, you can adjust this a bit, please. You can adjust this if you feel that they are too close to. Okay, you can actually adjust that a bit. Yeah, so here we are. This is the 3B. So I saved my work in order for I saved my work in a folder for easy retrieval. Of course, you know the usual things that we used to write here. Saved my work regularly to avoid data loss. I made sure to enter the data accurately. I made sure to choose appropriate primary key. Remember, we talked about the primary key. Yeah. Oh, we did not. Oh, yeah. Let me go back. I don't think we did. This is the table. So let me close this. So this is our table. Let me open this in design view. Yes, save everything. Okay, so this is the primary key. This is the unique identifier of every record here. No two records can share the same primary key. So let me just explain that briefly. Okay, so that is that. I was careful to select the required fields while creating the form. So of course we did that. I made sure to add my details in a printout. This is also a precaution. Okay. The next passage, mention 4 file extension formats that a database document can be saved as. Okay, so I listed quite a number of them here. There's CSV, there's ROTF. Of course, we used ROTF. There's DBS, there's ACCDB. This is particularly for Microsoft Access. There's PDF. Of course, you saw PDF. There's the Excel part, MD. MDB and ACDT. So let me show you some of those ones that we can see here. To see them, you can come to File. You can try Save As. When you go on Save As, you will see them here. You see these ones. These are file formats. Okay. Now, apart from that, you can equally go to. You can go to external data. Okay. Under external data, you can export these ones. You can export them as Excel file. So you can also export it as a text file. You can also export it here as RTF and this other file format. So you can mention any of them. Okay. Done with this. Done with that. Then the last part, I explain the following terms in database. So I explained that a foreign key is a field or collection of fields. It can be one field or more in one table that references the primary key of another table. Now, the foreign key effectively establishes what we call a relationship, okay, between them, okay, a link between the records in the two tables. So the foreign key connects the other table through a primary key, and this ensures referential integrity. This may be out of the scope of this exercise for me to explain, but if you guys did this in your classes, you should be able to easily understand what I mean here. Okay, so here it says a composite key is a primary key that is made up of more than one column, that is more than one field, that helps it to uniquely identify a record. Now, a primary key basically just would likely be one field, but it becomes a composite primary key when it has more than one field. Okay, so let me use this as an example. So you have this book, you have this book table, you have this loan table. Now, these books were loaned out to these customers. Okay, so if you want to check your loan record, or you notice that book number 2 is on loan. Now, to find out who loaned, to find out the book that was loaned, you just come here to check book 2. You can see the art of SQL, so it is easy for you to tell. Yeah, so that is the arrangement. So this is a foreign key, this is a primary key. So the relationship is established, the link is established between this loan table and the book table using the connection between the foreign key and the primary key. Yeah, so that's the way it works. All right, are we done? Okay, so it looks like we're done here. All right, I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you liked what you saw. Please, if you do, take our time to just appreciate this video by liking it, sharing it, commenting, subscribe or follow depending on the platform you're watching from. Please do well to share to as many persons as you can. That way this video gets to as many persons as possible. Now remember, it will cost you nothing to do any of this. Thank you. I'll see you guys again in the next video. Bye for now.